Okay, as we enter a whole new day in trade, let's take a look at the global cues from last night. The House in the US has managed to get the COVID relief package here. Congress has managed to seal a deal. Lawmakers have reached an agreement on a $900 billion relief package. On the vaccine front, Moderna is shipping its first batch of vaccine after receiving approval for emergency use from the FDA. Pfizer and BioNTech are being distributed to frontline healthcare workers around the country. In terms of markets, Tesla will be entering the S&P 500 with a 1.69 weighting in the index, making it the fifth largest. If you account all of this, futures on the Dow were up as much as 70 points. They then slid to 35 points up, and they've now dipped into the negative around 12 points. Nasdaq futures were up 0.2%, but they've cooled off as well, and S&P futures were pretty much flat. So that's how the US did in the last 12 hours overnight. Asia this morning trading weak across the board. Investors are looking ahead to the release of China's benchmark lending rate. But in the meanwhile, the Nikkei has dipped 0.50%. The Topix is down 0.4%. The Kospi was 0.6% lower. And Australia declined as well, with the S&P ASX 200 down around 0.4%. So Asia Pacific, all your regions trading lower this morning. There's not a single area which seems to be bucking the trend. Of course, if there's any movement over the course of the day, we'll be updating you on that. Coming to Europe, European stocks closed lower on Friday. The stock 600 was down 0.33%. Different sectors were pointing in opposite directions, so there was no clear visible trend. Retail shares, however, slid the most, 2% down, and telecoms managed to slightly buck the trend, 0.2% up. So that's how your markets were doing. Now let's look at two commodities we always check on, oil and gold. Oil actually hit a 9-month high on Friday. That's since February we've not seen prices this high. Obviously the dollar, this was also headed for the 7th straight weekly gain for crude prices. Brent crude gained 1.5% to $52.26 per barrel. So that's the highest price we've seen in a while. And then US WTI settled 1.5% higher as well, as $49 per barrel. So we're catching up on crude. Prices are, slowly inching back to even their pre-COVID levels. And then if we look at gold, gold prices slipped on Friday after 3 days of consecutive gains. The dollar rebound offset support from hopes of a US fiscal stimulus package. So spot gold was down 0.1% at $1,883.39 per ounce. And US gold futures fell 0.1% to $1,889.30 per ounce. So gold retreating slightly, oil doing well. Markets mixed. Let's see how the SGX holds up in trade. We're looking at a slight muted to negative open based on the futures, but US futures change over the course of the day. The market mood might change as well. We'll be bringing you updates on that.